I shone bright, then my journey was over. What I sought when I ran was back where I began. No matter the rain, no matter the storm, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Leave open the gate, don't turn off the light, I'm coming home. Well, I scratched in the dirt for a while. I gained all that I knew for a price. In the end, what I found was nowhere near as nice. No matter the rain, no matter the storm, I'm coming home.
Hey there friends, it's Carly. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new here, and welcome to September. Big things are happening for me and Dave throughout the rest of the year, but more on that later. So it is essential that I am organized, productive, and on top of it all. Today we are going to be doing some planning, some hardcore cleaning motivation, and all the other good vibes. So if that's something you're keen to see, grab yourself a cuppa or a beverage of your choice, and let's get into the video. It's Saturday morning, so I'm starting things off as usual with a little bit of a house clean. It is one of Dave's final Saturdays playing soccer before the season ends, so I'm trying to get in as much as I can before we need to leave for the game. Obviously, I'm just showing some bits and pieces as opposed to a full house clean with me. But if you are new to my channel and would like some more cleaning motivation, I have a heap of videos in my Clean With Me playlist. So you can go check those out and watch them after this one to motivate you to clean and refresh your own space. I'm wearing a long sleeve cashmere sweater here, but I honestly won't need to rug up for too much longer as we're now moving into that sunny spring weather in Australia. It does also reveal my growing baby bump, and throughout the month of September I will be between 6 and 7 months, and I will be hitting you guys up at the end of this month with a second trimester update, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm not gonna lie, I am a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of things I need to get done in both September and October. I haven't mentioned this to you guys yet, but I have decided I'm going to take all of term 4 off of work. I've put in for my long service leave. I'm also gonna take my sick leave. So that will get me 10 weeks of school term plus our 2 weeks of school holidays off prior to baby being due, which is fantastic. During that time, we're also moving into our new house, so there'll be packing up, moving, decorating, landscaping, a whole heap of fun and exciting things to welcome in baby. To finalize all my monthly planning, I did put together a bit of a to-do list in my bullet journal, and it is quite long just for September. I've got lots of home jobs on there. I need to get our home and contents insurance for the new house. I also need to email real estate about vacating our current rental, pay off our furniture lay-by, need to go to Spotlight to organize them to come down and measure and quote for our blinds at the new house, looking at fantastic furniture for a rug. I'm washing our current outdoor setting that we have here, and I'm going to give that to my mother and father-in-law, do a Vinnie's trip to drop off anything we want to declutter. And then I also have some jobs at school to round out the term there. So book in all my leave for term 4 and finalize all of my school jobs. So marking, reporting, planning for whoever's going to come and take over my classes. And then in terms of personal, I have a blood test to do for Bubba, and then also plan out my October videos, which will be a lot of moving and new house content, which I am super excited about. So a lot on the agenda here. It's the next day, and part of our Sunday ritual is an early morning grocery trip. I just picked up our weekly groceries from Aldi. If you do want to see a whole fridge clean out, Aldi weekly grocery haul, restock, produce, all of those things, make sure you check out my last video because I was sharing all of that with you there. It is now time for my book segment. We're starting off with our August reading wrap up, and then we'll get on to my September TBR. So the first book I read in August was Sydney Sheldon's Tell Me Your Dreams, and I don't have that with me to show you because I've already put it in the car to donate. Not that it was bad at all, in fact quite the opposite. I did generally like it and I rated it a 4 out of 5. There were kind of 3 books or parts to the novel, and I feel like the first part was the most intriguing to me. That was kind of all the murders taking place and the setup to that. Part 2 was all of the trial law kind of things, and part 3 was the aftermath, and part 1 was easily the most intriguing and sort of exciting as a reader. And it's not like it really fell off per se in part 2 and 3. I was still intrigued enough to continue reading, but my attention was waning a little bit. It was still a good book, so I rated it a 4 rather than anything higher. And then the next one I read was The Gracefield Homestead. I really liked that this was super quaint, positive, uplifting, heaps of cute pictures throughout, and I ended up giving this one, I believe, a 4 out of 5 as well. Yes, I did. I felt like it was just a quick, easy read. But it wasn't something that I could super practically apply to my life. There were a lot of like very distinctive homestead stories, and a lot of them particularly relating around animals rather than, you know, practical things or step-by-step processes that you could take to kind of live a little bit more of a slow or sustainable life if that is the way that you're intending to head. So it was pretty, it was uplifting, it wasn't super practical. I'll definitely keep it, I'll definitely pick it up and just read parts of it again, but I don't think it will be a cover to cover read. This wasn't on my August TBR originally, but I also did decide that I was going to read Whiskey in a Teacup by Reese Witherspoon, just because I had it around and the cover was very intriguing to me, and I wanted another one of those quite, you know, light and easy and airy coffee table books to add to my TBR this month. So I did end up reading that. And I found it to be very similar vibes to the Gracefield homestead. Lots of beautiful pictures, lots of quaint and easy stories. A lot of things that also sort of didn't really relate to me, such as recipes that I wasn't really going to use, or specific kind of hosting events that related a lot to American holidays or kind of traditions. So still another one of those ones I'll flick through, and it's also just super aesthetic to have as a piece of home decor. So I also rated this a 4 out of 5. Next up, I had Archer's Voice, which is the one I was unsure about because it came as a recommendation from Mum, and I'm not sure if her tastes quite align with mine. And I will admit it is the only book I have not finished reading this month, and I don't even have it here to show you guys. I've left it down at my parents' house. I stay there once or twice a week if I've got meetings or appointments after school and don't want to drive up in the dark. So I've left it down there as my at the parents reading book, and I'm probably only about halfway through, and we're like right at the end of August now, so I'm definitely not going to finish it this month. I'm just going to have to just keep it down there and keep plugging away at it in September, so it will stay on the September TBR, I guess. It's not that I didn't like it, it's just I felt that it was kind of slow. The love interest of the story, Archer, I'm not finding him particularly captivating. And maybe I'm just not into the romance books at the moment. It's just a very slow and kind of more wholesome romance, where I like something that's a little bit more fast-paced, intriguing, or has a bit of spice to it, if you will. So I have tentatively rated it actually at a 3.5. I'll come back to it at the end of September if I've finished it by then and re-evaluate my rating if it goes up or down. Mum was a bit sad that I'm not particularly interested in it. I'm not interested in it enough that I would sacrifice it and just go on with something else, but it's going to be a bit of a slow burn, as opposed to this one, my final read of the month, which I think I finished in about 2 days, and this is PIP Drysdale, The Strangers We Know. I was contemplating, do I rate this a 4.5 out of 5 or do I rate it the full 5? And as a high school teacher, when we're marking assessments and we're not sure of a mark, is it a 13 out of 15 or a 14 out of 15? We err on the side of positivity and we mark up. And so I decided to apply that to my rating of this book, and I am going to give, for the second time this year, my 5 out of 5 star rating. This had me hooked from the get-go, and the pace just continued throughout the entirety of the book. It was super fast-paced, lots of twists and turns, lots of new information that kept you kind of on edge or guessing, and you had kind of this assumption or interpretation of what was going to happen at the start of the book, and by the end you realize probably most of the things that you thought were wrong, which I love, keeps me on edge. There is a little bit of a romance angle, but it's definitely more of a crime slash thriller. Yeah, and like I said, I finished it off in 2 days because I was so hooked and so interested to know what was happening. And I also felt like the protagonist was someone that you could get behind as well, which doesn't happen in some of my thriller books. If you look at my last month reading list, there were a couple of protagonists that I wasn't behind, especially if they were switching perspectives. I find that it's really hard for me to sort of form that connection, but when it is one primary main character, then I can get along with it. So 5 out of 5 for this one. If you're looking for something to read, you like thrillers, this is a good book. Now we are moving on to my September reads. Now, this could be a bad decision on my part because I did just say Archer's Voice, you know, the soppy, slow burn romance is not really my thing at the moment, and that's kind of some of the vibes that I'm going for here. But I actually intentionally chose 4 books, all of which I got from the thrift shop, because I have a tendency to, if I know I'm not going to read a thrift book again, I'll have no qualms in returning it, even if it's a book that I bought new that I just know I'm not going to read again, I'll return that too. But I definitely want to get through some of my thrift finds this month so that I have the potential to declutter prior to us moving. So the first one I selected was Emery Lords The Map From Here to There, and I did read another one of hers earlier in the year that I wasn't so much a fan of, so I'm hoping that this one isn't going to be too bad. It says Paige Hancock is finally living her best life. She has everything she needs: great friends, a boyfriend who totally gets her, a fun cinema job, but her last year at high school is approaching fast, and with it come big decisions. Weighing up the rest of her life, Paige feels the return of the anxiety she thought she'd conquered. Her head's saying, you know, things have to change, but there's so much out there to experience. But in her heart, is it so terrible to want everything to stay the same forever? So definitely kind of like a little bit of a teen angle to it, but a little bit of a romance, coming of age type novel. So we'll see how this one goes. I'm hoping that this one is going to add a little bit of spice to things. It's called Strictly Between Us: Rumors, Secrets and Lies. It's all in a day's work, and it's by Jane Fallon. It says Tasman and her best friend Michelle, Tamsin, not Tasman, have been inseparable since they were teenagers. Even now, they spend all their time together along with Patrick, Michelle's perfect husband. So when Tamsin hears a rumor that Patrick's having an affair, she is incensed. Unwilling to ignore it, she plots a scheme to catch Patrick in the act, using her assistant Bea as live bait. It should be foolproof. After all, Tamsin can trust Bea with anything, from her daily coffee order to fetching her dry cleaning, writing reports and doing all the filing. Bea does everything with a smile on her face, except Tamsin never considered Bea might have her own agenda, and if she does, then Tamsin really needs to watch her back. Okay, definitely a little bit more of a romance thriller spicy angle, so hopefully this will provide a little bit of pace that I am needing for September. Next up, we've got my non-fiction for the month. It is Things I Would Like to Do With You by Waylon H. Lewis, and this is more of like a very cute little kind of anecdotal book. It just says, like, there's kind of a theme to each chapter, like things I would like to do after our fall, things I would like to do before I return, things I would like to do with you when I'm drunk, and just a whole heap of cutesy little stories. So hopefully this will provide just something sort of uplifting and fun as we move into the spring season here in Australia. And then my final one for the month, definitely on brand with September and moving into spring, it is Sweet Magnolia's Stealing Home by Cheryl Woods, and I do quite enjoy the TV series, so hopefully I will like the books as well. This one says, Maddie Townsend might live in a town called Serenity, but there's nothing calm or peaceful about her life since her marriage broke up. This stay-at-home mum has no job skills, an out-of-control 16-year-old son, a talkative 14-year-old who's suddenly gone silent, a 6-year-old daughter whose heart is broken, an ex-husband whose younger girlfriend is expecting their baby, and 2 best friends who think she's somehow qualified to help them open a fitness spa for women. But if Maddie is a tad on edge with all that on her plate, it's nothing compared to the chaos that ensues after she discovers that her son's baseball coach has feelings for her and the whole town disapproves. Maddie's faced a lot of challenges lately with strength and resolve, but I should know that, may turn out to be more than she can handle. Then again, he could be just one man in all of South Carolina who can help her find her serenity. So hopefully this will provide some lovely uplifting spring vibes for some outdoor reading in the sun. So that wraps up my September reset routine. I'm very excited that I have some bonus videos coming for you this month. I was doing 2 videos a week at the start of the year and for quite some time before that, but then in June decided to cut back a little bit because I was a bit overwhelmed with my schedule, but I really wanted to get back to a routine of doing 2 videos. So I am slowly getting there. So every second Wednesday, be expecting a bonus upload. We've also got a heap of things happening this month, and next month is when things are really going to start to shift and change. So make sure that you are subscribed down below for all of the cleaning, organization, house pack up, new house tour, moving, etc. All those good vibe videos. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I upload new videos every single week. With that being said, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.